Today's topic of discussion is finding a virgin woman. So I received a DM from a practicing brother. He asked me, can you please make a video on trying to find a virgin in today's society? So we're going to be discussing some key points in terms of how to get a virgin woman in today's society. So first point is filter. So in today's time, it's become really important to filter all women that you come across. All these women pretty much have been exposed to all types of fitna. So fitna is temptations and desires. So both men and women have been exposed to, let's say, X-rated content from a young age. You can literally just go on the internet, type in X-rated content and just indulge in that filth. And then you've got, for example, the school system. School system is teaching boys, girls that it's okay to fornicate with each other and do it as long as you are protecting yourselves. So you're using contraception. Now, when you're instilling that kind of mindset into these children, they think it's normal to commit zina. This is what the issue is. So these girls, right, who are in their teenage years, they're losing their virginity to some scumbag. The guy just doesn't care about them. His value is nowhere near the level that it should be at, because when it comes to developing yourselves, so as a man, it takes several years, several decades to build himself up. The issue is, right, these women are dishing out their virginity like flipping hotcakes. So when they want, let's say, a man of value, they expect him to be a provider and protector. But they're not a traditional woman. They haven't even got their virginity. You see how there's a massive imbalance there? Because society deems it as, oh, you go girl, you can have whatever you want, whatever man you want, and so on. So when that guy has got his own requirements and he's got his own standards, they don't like it. This is what the issue is. So you guys are going to need to vet these girls thoroughly, because they're going to slip up sooner or later. So the way I go about it is, in my requirements section, I put in there no previous relationships. Make that clear to them. No previous relationships. And then let's say you're in a marriage meeting with that person, you're speaking to them for marriage purposes. You tell them, look, here's my requirements. You've had a read of them. So you want somebody who's, let's say, a practicing Muslim, prays her 5 prayers, keeps her fast, and so on. And then you want somebody who's had no previous relationships. So no boyfriends and no haram activity. Do you understand? And then you mention your other requirements. And then you tell her, look, if a day or 2 days, a week from now, you don't feel comfortable with my requirements and you're not it's not even about up to scratch. I was going to say up to scratch, but then certain times these women here, they just get offended by that. So you just tell them, look, if you're not compatible with my requirements, then feel free to just stop communicating. If you put it that way, there's no pressure from her side where she feels as though, oh, okay, I need to expose my sins. Because that's what it is with these women. So with women and men, certain times they've done all this haram activity and they're just in that mindset of, it's in the past. Now, God forgives all sins except shirk. So if you die upon shirk, so shirk is when you associate partners with God. So that's what shirk is. But all other sins can be forgiven if you ask for forgiveness. So when it comes to, let's say, zina is a major sin. Something which is not a small sin whatsoever. So these women, they're like, oh, okay, God has forgiven me. But you as a guy, right, if you've been keeping away from zina, even though you've been close to situations where you could have indulged in that, but you chose not to, your marriage market value is higher than hers because she's committed zina. Do you understand? So there's even some videos, right, I've come across people like Mufti Menk and these other sheikhs. They've said that if a woman hasn't been married before, she's a virgin. Now, the issue that arises from that is that there's certain girls that have committed multiple zina. So they've had multiple boyfriends. Them type of girls, they're thinking that, oh yeah, when they come across a guy, the guy's saying, oh, no previous relationships, they think that it's okay to just get with him. You know, so I've heard certain stories, right? Certain brothers, they've ended up marrying, let's say, a sister, and he's found out afterwards that she's not virgin. Now you can imagine how distressed and upset that guy must have been. The fact is, right, he's been saving himself until marriage to have intercourse with his wife, and he finds out that she's not even virgin. This is what's happening in these Western societies. You know, so the way to combat that is simply you tell them from the get-go. So you send them, let's say, your basic CV and then your detailed version. So if you guys don't know how to form that and create that, you guys can watch my videos on marriage checklist. So part 1 and part 2. So you can watch that, and then that will give you more information on that, on how to create your own unique marriage checklist. So it's really important. Once you've created that, send that to the woman. So next point is needle. It's become a needle in a haystack in today's society to find a woman who's had no previous relationships. She's kept her chastity. In today's society, it's being dished out. You know, so you got, for example, these losers. These guys, they're not men of value. They're people who are just fornicating. So they're going with these girls and then they're fornicating with them, taking their virginity from them, and then they're moving on to another relationship. But that woman is damaged now because when she gets onto the marriage market, it's different. It's not a situation where she has the same leverage that she did previously. You know, so that's what it is. These women here right now, they want to shy away from that, and they want to try and pretend like, oh, virginity doesn't matter. So the women who are trying to say to you guys that, oh, virginity doesn't matter, red flag. Yeah, so that's one of the questions you can ask to a girl. You can ask her, oh yeah, what's your opinion on virginity? Does it matter? If she says, oh no, I don't think it really matters, you know, if a girl's done that before, then that's in the past, and so on. Disregard that type of person. Because that person there, she don't have no respect for the fact that you've been keeping yourself pure this whole time. So if you guys haven't, then it's just like, alright, you can't just be a hypocrite and put in there no previous relationships. Because that's what certain guys, what they'll do is they've committed dirty haram activity, and then they'll expect, oh, a virgin woman. That's not how life works. You understand? Like, if you're not a virgin, then you shouldn't be putting that in your checklist. But we're going back to the genuine brothers out there who have been keeping themselves pure. They've been working on themselves. They've been grinding day in, day out. You know, there's certain brothers out there who have literally cut off all women for extended time periods and are locked in on their purpose. Those brothers deserve the best. Do you understand? These women here are so selfish. They'll try and flipping grab that guy and do whatever they can to try and lock him down in a relationship. You know, they don't want to flip and get another girl. They don't want another girl to get their hands on him. So these guys, right, these Muslim speakers, they are creating more problems. Where a girl watches, let's say, a video online, and she's thinking that, oh, I ain't never been married before, I'm a virgin. Even though she's lost her virginity, she's had multiple boyfriends, but she's gonna think that, oh yeah, it's okay to try and get with this guy. That right there is the grounds for talaq, divorce. Because when the guy finds out afterwards, he's like, oh, okay, you've committed this sin. And that's what it is. There's certain stories out there where certain brothers, right, they've, let's say, gone onto their wife's laptop, and then there's certain pictures in there of her having boyfriends and stuff like that. And then before you know it, he's just completely shocked. And then guess what happens? Divorce, talaq. And it's a justifiable talaq as well, Islamically. So that leads us to the next point when it comes to back home. Certain brothers right now, they are at the stage where they're entertaining options back home. They're looking at options overseas. Because modern day women have pushed these brothers out. Certain women, they're saying, where's the good men? There's no good men left. Well, guess what? All of you lot have pushed the good men out. Good men want virgin women. Good men want women who ain't had previous relationships. Good men want women who are keeping themselves pure. Yeah, women who ain't been indoctrinated with this BS feminist mindset, independent boss babe type mindset, to be disobedient. Because that's what the system has raised these women to be. Disobedient women. Some women come along and say, oh, I don't need to do cooking and cleaning. If you don't need to do cooking and cleaning, alright. Guy, right, he turns around and says, I would like you to do the cooking and cleaning. Guess what? You need to be obedient towards your husband. There's verses in the Quran which talk about this. Yeah, but these women here, they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about being obedient towards your husband. They want to be disobedient. They want to do their own thing. And then these same women want to provide and protect her. They want to leech off of him. It's just disgusting, sickening. Now, them type of women, you straight cut them off. Don't give them no breathing room. Don't give them no second chances, nothing. Keep your distance from them type of women. That sense of entitlement attitude that they've got. So that's what it is. So guys who are watching this, let's say you're a Pakistani. If you go to, let's say, on holiday to Pakistan, feel free to speak to families out there for marriage purposes. Because you're much more likely to find a traditional woman over there than it is over here. Now, obviously, there's pros and cons for both of them. But when it comes to virginity, if a girl's come from a village type environment, she ain't been exposed to the whole indoctrination of feminism and this and that. And she's come from, let's say, a practicing family, a good, righteous family. She knows full well what her role is in a relationship. These women here, they don't know what their role is. They're thinking that, oh yeah, we can just be independent, we can do our own thing, and we don't need to answer to anyone. That right there is a complete wrong mindset with modern day women. So it's at that point right now. It's just guys are literally speaking to other women in other countries. Now, if these women here don't pull their socks up and get their act together, there's not going to be any good men left. The masculine men don't want masculine women. You know, these masculine women are going around trying to dictate everything. That's just a complete turn off for a guy. A masculine man, it's a complete turn off for him. He doesn't want to be anywhere near that type of energy. Masculinity and femininity, that's what creates attraction. Polar opposite. As soon as a woman starts to behave masculine, that's going to create an imbalance. So guys who are watching this, right, feel free to speak to options abroad, because that's what it is with myself right now. I'm at that stage right now where in this country, right, there's a bunch of girls who are literally just low quality. Now I'm talking from personal experience right now. These girls, let's say you come across a sister, she can be, let's say, praying her 5 prayers, keeping her fast, and is righteous on paper. But this person here has been indoctrinated with feminist ideologies, an independent boss babe type mindset, disobedient mindset. She would struggle to follow orders and follow instructions. So if you're telling her to do something, she will literally fight it. She'll be like, no, I ain't doing that. You know, these women here, they don't even want to flip and cooperate nowadays. They don't even want to communicate with you guys. You know, so if let's say you're trying to communicate with them, they're not even trying to communicate. They just literally try to cut you off and trying to shut it down. I mean, what sort of behavior is that? You can't even communicate with someone. That's what it is. Some of these girls, they're flipping anxious, avoidant type girls. Right? Guys who are watching this, when you've experienced certain situations, these girls, right, there are these anxious, avoidant types. They're literally the worst type of people that you guys can be dealing with. Because to give you guys an overview, it's like, let's say you're talking to the girl, trying to get to know her for marriage purposes, things are going well. All of a sudden, she'll just pull back randomly and she'll just stop communicating. And you're not even somebody who's over pursuing. You're not somebody who's bombarding her with messages and phone calls. You're not trying to do any of that. You're literally hitting her up like once every few days, once in a week or something like that, or maybe even once in a day, and then that's it. And then she just randomly just stops communication, and then you stop communicating with her, and then she'll just linger on. Constant push and pull all day long with that type of person. That person there is damaged goods. They ain't worked on themselves from the internal. That's what the problem is. So these anxious avoidants, avoid them at all costs. Literally cut them off. They're flipping dangerous. They're damaged goods, and they're gonna suck you guys of your energy. So final point is cooked. Yeah, these modern day women are flipping cooked. They've been so damaged from a young age that they're written off. By the time they get to, let's say, marriage age, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, they've been through so much trauma, so much BS, that they just don't want to listen to a guy. They couldn't even do the basics, which is preserve their virginity. Because that's what it is with you guys out here. You guys here who have been grinding day in, day out, grafting, going through flipping pain and suffering. You ain't going to settle with a girl who hasn't even got the basics, which is her virginity. Now, we're not asking for much here. You know, a woman to be flipping fit, feminine, cooperative, caring, loving, good, a woman who's got strong connection with God. It's not much, is it? But it's hard to find in today's society. Majority of women have become so distorted and flipping damaged that they ain't even got that on lock. They ain't even done the basics. Now you as men, you guys would have leveled yourselves up, worked on yourselves, and you would have been constantly grinding day in, day out. You know, you guys here aren't going to be trying to settle for anything less. Somebody who's even similar to a level. Because that's what it is. With guys who have been working on themselves, you're always going to be the highest value. Now, you just want somebody who's like at a similar level. You don't want somebody who's just like all the way down here. She ain't even got the basics. But that's what's scary about it. These modern day women, the women who are like all the way down here, they expect to get the guys who are at the top. The guys who have been working on themselves, grinding day in, day out. They want them type of guys. The entitlement is just crazy. Now you guys have probably seen them videos on YouTube as well, of these girls who are going around saying, I want a guy who earns 6 figures. I want a guy who flipping got, you know, he's 6 feet tall. He's flipping good looking. He's successful. He's somebody who's, you know, an influencer, you name it. This whole flipping checklist. Complete delusion in their brains. And then when they get a guy similar to that, they end up flipping leaving him anyway. So that's what it is. You guys here, right? Make sure that you have that mindset of filtering these women. Because they ain't going to flip in. They ain't going to be changing anytime soon. So just to wrap up. Filter. State your requirements from the get-go. You want somebody who's had no previous relationships. That will save you guys a bunch of time, effort, energy, and resources. You don't need to go on all these stupid dates and all these flipping marriage meetings. You know, the amount of time I've saved from literally sending girls my basic CV and then detailed version. Because let's say I'm speaking to a girl, we're connecting, and then I'll get her Instagram. We start talking on there. I'll send her my basic CV, detailed version. These girls there, they'll disqualify themselves. They'll say that, oh yeah, you know, sorry, I'm not interested, or I don't think this is going to work. Great. You've saved me a whole bunch of time. Thank you. Because I ain't trying to drag this on for flipping months and flipping years. That's what these guys do. Certain guys are talking to these girls for so long. Like, you could have literally just saved yourself a whole bunch of time if you was to tell them, look, I want somebody with no previous relationships. Yeah, you want a flipping virgin woman because you've kept your virginity. Yeah, so you guys here don't settle for anything less. If you guys here have actually been grinding and you've got multiple options and multiple women, don't settle for these low quality girls. And the next point after that was needle. Right now in today's society, it's like a needle in a haystack to find a righteous woman, to find a traditional woman. Because there's traditional men out there, but how many traditional women are there? Only a handful. You know, the women who are somewhat of quality, let's say who are praying, you know, keeping their fast, they're somebody who are reserved, you know, they keep themselves to themselves. Certain times they've been indoctrinated with feminist ideologies. Now you're going to have to come along now and literally remove the programming from that. You know, a woman's not going to be coming as a full package where she's submissive, cooperative, friendly, caring, loving. A lot of times These women here are far from that. So you're going to need to condition a woman. Teach her. This is the correct behavior. This is incorrect behavior. This is good behavior. This is bad behavior. Yeah, you got to teach a woman. Especially now more than ever. Because they ain't been raised with traditional moral values. Next point after that was back home. Certain brothers are out here are entertaining options overseas. So you guys here, if you want to do that, go ahead. Do you understand? It's at that point where these modern day women have literally pushed the good men out, pushed them away. And then they're just nagging and complaining, oh, where's the good men? They're typing all over the internet. They're making all these videos. Where's the good men? There's no good men left. Good men don't want to talk to you lot. Have you seen your dirty, stinking attitude? Dirty masculine energy. You know, what guy wants to talk to a woman who's just got dirty masculine energy? Keep saying flipping bro in every single sentence. Bro, what's that? Bro, flipping, why are you doing that? A guy don't want to hear none of that. He ain't trying to hear a girl say bro to him. That's masculine energy. Guys say bro to each other. So when a girl says bro to a guy, it's just a flipping turn off. They don't even know that. These girls here, they text that. They're like, oh yeah, bro, what was you up to? Some of them, they don't even clock on like, oh yeah, look at the words that I'm using. And then when you check them, you tell them, they're like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Some of them, they genuinely ain't been checked before and ain't been told that, oh yeah, this is not how you conduct yourself as a woman. No, that's what it is. You guys here are going to need to condition these women and teach them. Because they ain't been taught nothing. And the final point was cooked. Majority of modern day women are cooked. They're damaged. They got all this BS trauma. They're flipping anxious avoidance. They're annoying to deal with. They ain't got no traditional values within them. They don't know what their role is in life. Don't settle with them type of women. Them type of women, you leave them for the flipping beta males. Yeah? These beta males can have them. And then they'll just get rinsed and sucked of their energy and resources. So, I hope that makes sense, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.